And one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because, a lot of young people going into marriage very unprepared. I think I was somewhat prepared. I won't say I was fully prepared, but I was somewhat prepared because I have a very close relationship with my mother. She's like my best friend. We share everything. And I saw firsthand what it was, or how it is to be married to an African Igbo man, right? And my mom shares a lot. In fact, she overshared. And, well, in a good way, because it prepared me. So I didn't go into the marriage like, okay, yes, I had the fairy tale thing going on, but I was quite realistic about my expectations on marriage. And, my mom would always, point out things to me, even things about my husband. She's like, ZINNY, see this. That long time, at the time she was doing, I was just like, Mommy, you're just trying to kill my vibes. What is it? You should just be happy for me, blah, 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 blah. But over time, I got to understand some of the things she was pointing out to me. And I'll say she's been a very strong pillar of support. There's nothing like having a mom who you can tell things and would give you realistic ways of solving those problems in an unbiased way. And my husband would tell you those are one of the things that he respects my mom for, to be able to mediate when there are issues. It doesn't work for everybody, but in my situation, that's what works for us. If I'm having a challenge and I feel maybe she may be able to step in, she'll give me an objective opinion about it, because at the end of the day, she wants the marriage to work. So she's not going to outrightly be on my side, but still find a way to just, create that balance. So yeah, I know I'm saying different things, but marriage is interesting. It's interesting. If you're not ready to compromise, if you're not patient, if you're not ready to meet the other person halfway, if you're too set in your mindset and in how you think things should be done, I don't know if marriage is for you, specifically to an African man. If I could go back to 7 years ago, just before I got married, or the night before my wedding, I'll tell myself how important communication is before marriage. There's so many things that I'm unraveling now, 7 years. Like, my husband and I would say we're kind of in a dating stage now, 7 years after. It's quite ridiculous, to be honest, because there are things that we're getting to understand about ourselves and our personality, about expectations, how we see things, versus how one person sees things versus how the other person sees things. And I thought I was an excellent communicator, but I'm only just realizing that I'm not that great of a communicator. And, there's something that marriage does. Marriage almost gives you a reflection of yourself, right? Marriage can bring out the best, and it can also bring out the ugliest part of you, because there's no other person that can trigger you or that can tell you who you really are than the person that sleeps on that bed with you. So communication is very important, I would say. It's something I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to communicate and just let myself be vulnerable. And I'll give you an example. There's some expectations. So my husband has a way he's saying things. And we all have that based on how we were raised. You have an idea of, this is how my family should be like, this is how my wife should be like, these are how my children should be like. But sometimes it doesn't always happen that way, because you need to understand that you're bringing somebody else into the picture, right? And that person too has their own value system, the way they were raised, their background. There are just so many things and dynamics that come into play. So it's not easy being married to someone who has a totally different background from you. If you can even think about your siblings, siblings, same mom, same dad, different personalities. If I have a set of twins, they're both very, very different. And they're twins, right? So that's just marriage. I think, it's very important to communicate what your expectations are of each other and talk about those things. I mean, I've seen on Instagram people saying, when you're dating, it's not to be asking, how are you? What have you eaten? You ask very deep questions. You need to know, you hear people going through divorce, irreconcilable differences. What are those things? Are there things that are total deal breakers for you? Or are there things that it's tough, but you can still manage it or find a way around it? So I think it's very important to communicate your expectations. Okay, I was going to give an idea. So my husband's idea of a wife and a mom is that you must be hands-on. His own hands-on is you sit down and you feed the children. Like his hands-on is literal, right? You sit down, you feed the children, you shower them, you make sure you cook, they sit in the dining, you eat with them. That's his own idea of being a hands-on wife, maybe based on how he was raised or, how his mom raised them. He's very close to his mom. That is not how I see being hands-on. I see being hands-on as being present, right? So the way our parents were maybe 10, 15 years ago, the dynamics have changed, times have changed, everybody is working. Everybody's a working mom. Or most people are working. Maybe there are some that are chilling, I don't know. Maybe they are married to, I don't know. But most people are working, right? So you have to delegate. So for me, I know that even though I'm not there literally feeding them, I'm making sure that food is provided for, the children are well taken care of, things are done in a structured manner, there's a routine that is being followed. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's really not easy to balance because I'm a working mom. I also have my little side hustles here and there. And I also don't believe that marriage should put you in a box. And, I meet people and they say, oh, when I meet people and they want to, in Nigeria, Mrs. this or Madam, I'm like, no, I'm ZINNY. I want you to see me as ZINNY first. Then, yes, I'm a mom. Yes, all of those things, those are part of who I am. But I want people to be able to see me as ZINNY, even in the workplace, in the professional space, in friendships, right? I'm still in touch with a lot of my friends, single and married. So for me, there has to be balance. And that's the only way I can be truly fulfilled. There are different areas of my life that have to thrive besides being a mom. So I tend to delegate things, but make sure that things are being done how I want them to be done. And so I think I recently, my husband and I had an argument and I said, no, the fact that your idea of being a hands-on mom is not the same as my idea, it doesn't mean I'm not a hands-on mom. And I think since I said that, he actually thought about it and that hasn't come again. But there's also the part of compromise where sometimes you do eye service and you carry the spoon and you physically feed them, maybe once in a while. And I have this pastor, shout out to Peebo, he was just giving me advice. This was about 3 years ago. And he was saying that, what, even if it's a day, I know you're super busy, but even if it's a day that you have and you do those things that, that will make your husband happy, do them. And let me tell you one secret I just found out recently. Okay, well, this isn't a secret. My husband doesn't joke with his children. He loves his children. So the secret that I just found out is that if I want to collect money from him, it has to be around children. The money comes out sharp. So you need to understand who you're dealing with and know how to follow who you're dealing with. And when you do, you would have, very little issues. So as long as, the most important things are in place, like you have the same mindset, you have the same value system, every other thing can be worked around.